Rahab, a virtuous soul. Joshua son of Nun secretly sent 2 spies from Shittim. "Go look over the land," he said, "especially Jericho." So they went and entered the house of a prostitute named Rahab and stayed there. Jericho was a crucial city in the conquest of Canaan, and it became the site of a beachhead battle to enter the Promised Land. So the spies came to Rahab's inn and lodged there. Evidently, perhaps because they dressed a little differently and talked to each other in low tones with foreign accents, other customers recognized them as Israelites and made a beeline to warn the king. And it was told the king of Jericho, saying, "Behold, men have come here tonight from the children of Israel to search out the country." So the king of Jericho sent to Rahab, saying, "Bring out the men who have come to you, who have entered your house, for they have come to search out all the country." Then the woman took the 2 men and hid them. So she said, "Yes, the men came to me, but I did not know where they were from. And it happened as the gate was being shut, when it was dark, that the men went out. Where the men went, I do not know. Pursue them quickly, for you may overtake them." Rahab's risk. This is one of the acts for which Rahab is immortalized. Rahab lived in Jericho, and by allying herself with God's people, she was laying her life on the line. What made her do that? Jericho was situated on a main highway at the crossroads of 3 continents. People from many different religious backgrounds would stop at her hotel, and she would observe their peculiar customs, yet none of these other religions had impressed her so deeply as the God of the Israelites. In her heart, Rahab believed that the religion of Jericho was just as foolish and futile as the others of which she'd heard. All of her life she'd been hearing reports about how this nation of slaves had been saved from Egypt, and of the hundreds of miracles they'd experienced. Any God who could do such powerful things, and who loves his people that much, was the God Rahab wanted to serve. When Rahab realized that her king intended to harm the spies, she found a perfect hiding place for them. But she had brought them up to the roof, and hidden them with the stalks of flax, which she had laid in order on the roof. Flax was a plant of which the finer parts were used for making a soft linen cloth. The coarser parts of the plant were woven together into twine, and the twine was eventually braided together into rope. Like many in her day, Rahab probably had a little family business on the roof of dyeing cloth and cord. She specialized in red, just as Lydia was a seller of purple. When the soldiers went out to search for the spies, the city gates were locked. It didn't seem as if there was any escape for Joshua's spies. The Canaanites were swarming the city and countryside looking for them. These 2 Israelites had to trust their deliverance to a pagan prostitute. The Lord often uses humble instruments to do great things. You might wonder how God could bless Rahab. After all, she lied, and lying is always a sin. However, the Bible record is faithful and records even the failings of God's people. For instance, David's wife Michal told her father Saul that David was sick in bed, and in reality she had let David out the window to save his life. Yes, Rahab was dishonest. She might not have known better at such an early stage in her experience with God, yet her action came from faith in him, and the Lord looked on her sincere heart. Truly, these times of ignorance God overlooked. The good news is that God can forgive and change someone like Rahab. She ended up being an ancestor of Jesus. And if God can change the hearts of people like Rahab, he can change ours as well. Making a covenant. After Rahab diverted the soldiers, she returned to the roof to commune with her refugees. After expressing faith in the God of Israel, she said, "I beg you, swear to me by the Lord, since I have shown you kindness, that you also will show kindness to my father's house, and give me a true token, and spare my father, my mother, my brothers, my sisters, and all that they have, and deliver our lives from death." Rahab wasn't concerned just with her own salvation, but also with that of her family. This should be a characteristic of God's church. As soon as we say, "Lord, save me," our next prayer should be, "Lord, save my loved ones." So the men answered her, "Our lives for yours, if none of you tell this business of ours. And it shall be, when the Lord has given us the land, that we will deal kindly and truly with you." Then she let them down by a rope through the window, for her house was on the city wall. She dwelt on the wall, and she said to them, "Get to the mountain, lest the pursuers meet you. Hide there 3 days, until the pursuers have returned. Afterward, you may go your way." After 3 days of hiding in the mountains, the 2 men returned to their camp and reported to Joshua, "Truly the Lord has delivered all the land into our hands, for indeed all the inhabitants of the country are faint-hearted because of us." The spies knew they were going to win the battle because the people in Jericho had lost heart. They did not come back and report on Jericho's fortifications, armaments, or soldiers. Instead they said, "The Lord's going to give Jericho to us because we have faith and they don't." Remember, we are saved by grace through faith alone. However, if that faith is real, it will be demonstrated by our actions. Follow for daily biblical stories. Thank you and God bless you.